Episode 100, A Broken Promise. While Jade and Sheila were chatting, Jade received a text message. She looked at it and felt a sense of loss. The text said, "Jade, I don't have time to pick you up today. Something has come up, but you should remember to come back early to rest." She clearly remembered him telling her the day before that he would come to pick her up in the morning. He'd never broken his promise before. Jade smiled bitterly and put down her phone. She didn't even reply to the text. Maybe what Sheila said to her earlier was affecting her thoughts. After a while, she hesitatingly picked up her phone. Maybe he really did have something urgent to do. She was just about to text back when her phone suddenly rang. It was her good friend Faye. Faye was a friend from her high school, but she had cut off contact a long time ago. She dropped out of high school during her third year and had only contacted Jade recently. Jade had heard that she was working as a column writer and that she was looking for inspiration everywhere. It seemed that Faye had recently returned to Washington, but Jade didn't pay much attention to it. However, she was very surprised when Faye called and asked Jade to come and pick her up. "My little darling, Jade, do you still remember me?" Faye said over the phone with a smile on her face. "Of course I do. You are my good friend. I'm at the airport now. Hurry and come look for me. I haven't been back for years and I can't wait to see you. Wait for me." Jade didn't expect that Faye would really come back. Since she usually used public transport, she had to spend $6 on a taxi to go and pick up Faye. Her heart ached at this thought. As soon as she arrived at the airport, she called her. But just after Faye answered, Jade recognized a thin figure. She was surprised that Faye hadn't changed after so many years. She looked just the same as before. Several people were just getting off a plane, so the entrance was crowded. The scene was rather chaotic. "Faye, I'm here!" Jade shouted happily. She was only looking for Faye and didn't notice the situation behind her. Faye was wearing a bohemian dress, sunglasses, and a straw hat. She looked like she'd just come back from a vacation. Her aura was filled with confidence. She seemed different from the writer Jade had imagined. When Faye took off her sunglasses, a trace of surprise and worry showed on her face. It upset Jade to see Faye looking worried. She rushed over nervously and said, "Jade, be careful, be careful." "Oh, what's wrong?" Jade turned around in surprise when she saw Faye looking so nervous. Just as she turned her head, she saw a person holding a big box rushing toward her. The person didn't seem to see her at all and was still rushing forward. Jade was at a loss. Just as the box was about to hit her, she suddenly felt a force pulling her away. She jumped in fright and then stood still as she watched Faye walk up and scold the person with the box. "Be careful! You almost bumped into my friend. Watch where you're going." The person holding the big box revealed his head with difficulty and said apologetically, I'm sorry. Then Faye looked at Jade, who was pulling her. Her eyes changed drastically in an instant as if she seemed to be infatuated. Jade was all too familiar with that expression to not notice it. When she went out with Dario, he often had a similar expression. "Hey, beautiful, are you okay?" A magnetic and bright voice sounded in her ear. Only then did Jade notice that it was Faye, and she had just saved her. Those slender and beautiful hands were still holding her wrist. As soon as Jade noticed, she felt embarrassed. She quickly retracted her hands and said gratefully, "Thank you, I'm fine." She knew the moment she raised her head why Faye had such an expression. It was because there was a handsome man beside her. His handsome face was smooth, cold and angular. His dark and deep eyes had a charming luster. His thick eyebrows, tall nose and beautiful lips all displayed nobility and elegance. Although she often saw Dario, when Jade saw the handsome man, she couldn't help but be stunned. "I'm glad that you're okay, but you have to be careful." The handsome man winked at her with a playful smile on his face. Jade was shocked by his smile. She didn't expect such a handsome man to be so kind. It might have been because she'd been with Dario for so long that she expected all handsome men to be cold like Dario and Lucas. Jade thought about the two of them and felt a chill run down her spine. While Jade was in a daze, a woman with a good figure and big waves pushed the handsome man to the side and said with a smile, "Hey, beautiful girl, don't be fooled by my brother's appearance. He is a pervert. He likes to lie to beautiful girls like you the most." What do you mean?" Jade looked at the two people in front of her in a daze. She didn't understand what they were talking about. She looked at the woman again and thought that she was very beautiful. She was wearing delicate makeup. Jade took a closer look and noticed some similarities between her and the handsome guy. She thought they were probably brother and sister. Jade took a closer look at the beauty wearing sunglasses and felt that she looked somewhat familiar. Jade thought that she had seen her somewhere before. Was she a celebrity? The handsome man pushed the beauty away with a face full of displeasure. The man's pair of heroic eyes immediately filled with anger, and he said, "Go away! I specifically came here for my second sister's performance." Only then did Jade realize that a woman wearing a white dress was behind them. The woman was dressed very well, but her eyes were anxious. She'd been looking elsewhere and had no time to listen to what they were talking about. She seemed to be waiting for someone. "Jade, let's go, I'm so hungry." Just as Jade was thinking about who that woman was, Faye pulled her away. "Oh, okay, let's go." Jade walked away in a daze, but when the person behind her spoke again, she suddenly stopped. "Hey, second sister, are you still waiting for your Dario? Don't worry, he can't run. What's the rush? He said he would come to pick me up," the handsome guy teased. Jade's heart suddenly twitched. She turned her head in disbelief. What did he just say? Dario? What did he mean? Jade's face immediately darkened. She felt as if she was watching a horror movie with random jump scares. But she soon comforted herself. Was she thinking too much? There were so many people in the world with the same name. "Jade, what's wrong? You're still looking at handsome men." "It's okay, let's go." But just as she turned to leave, she suddenly snatched Faye's sunglasses and hat from her head. She put them on to avoid being discovered. Just at that moment, she saw a familiar figure.